What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you so very much for joining for another fantastic live stream here on Sunday. We're going to be looking at quite a handful of different stocks. It looks like Andrew, Bear, and Makeshift have already joined the chat. Greatly appreciate everyone coming out. Earnings week, it's going to be a full one. I want to pull them up here on the screen here. I always kind of just search through Earnings Whisper and kind of looking at what could be going on. It's going to be a very fun, full week of different various stocks and different various sectors, especially very heavy going to be on the tech focus side. Of course, we have Facebook on Monday. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Again, although we've already seen Snap kind of come through that as well. Logitech, that's been a market darling for me for quite some time, but the last coming 2 quarters have been a little bit hit and miss. UPS, that's going to be interesting to see on how they react to the FedEx news. AMD, of course, a huge chip stuff. Microsoft, cloud computing. Apple, Alphabet, or Google, better known as, the same as well. Twitter, let's see how that one's get hit too. BA, huge airline construction company. Teladoc, I want to see on how that one does. Of course, you have Apple, Amazon, Shopify, Caterpillar, Merck. Excuse me, they have the new antiviral coming out, ServiceNow, see how they're doing. Ford, see how they're lining up the boats or trucks with, again, Tesla and their EV kind of market. Six Flags is always an interesting one to kind of play. I had that one kind of going for like a long shot to see if that one recovered. Yeah, we have a lot of stocks. And this is just some of them. We have MicroStrategies, again, that one is here. Those are also 2 big names. Starbucks, that's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. This is going to be a pretty packed earnings week, to say the least. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Are you expecting a pullback on AMD? Again, so just to be completely clear on how I do investing or trading or whatever people call it these days, is going into earnings, it's very much a coin flip for me, Josh. It's not just saying like, oh, I hope it goes up or down. I just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. It could be great expectations. They could beat the top and bottom line, but the stock can still go down because the people on Wall Street or something, whatever, there's more seller than buyers. It's really much the price action for me, Josh, to kind of see on what I'm looking at to potentially see it move. Initially looking, this is a weekly chart. So let's go into the daily chart. And the expected move for AMD for this week is about $8.50 plus or minus. So that could easily put it back down to this 78.6 percentile move. So around a 111 to 110, that's going to be something that I'm looking for to potentially be there. But this stock has made a very nice kind of like, let's use, what color should we use today? Let's use yellow. Kind of like a nice cup here, okay? The people like to always kind of conform that. It's a nice like cup. Sometimes it's with a handle if they're kind of just trying to trade sideways here a little bit. Again, the last earnings really went gangbusters here, right? It went really rock solid here. Huge volume here as well that kind of came through at the same time without that was going through. It's been somewhat dormant here on volume, a little bit of spikes up, but it's been holding the 55 EMA here, which is that dotted line there, pretty well here. And somewhat respected the 618 Fibonacci number. So it has a healthy structure there, honestly, Josh, for AMD to potentially pop higher. But yeah, it's nothing, again, it's a coin flip for me on what's going to happen. I don't have any position in AMD right now, and I normally don't hold trading options into earnings like that. Andrew's asking, what's your position size or leaps on BA? Yes, let me Oh, I gotta log in here. It's not much. It's maybe like 2 or 3. It is January 20, 453 days out, and it's the 350 call, and I have 2 of them. So not talking much here. It's 350. That's I don't know. Was it that day you say 350? So I did January 2023, and I said the 350 call. I think the reason why I did that, at the time, the stock was a little bit closer up here, and has been kind of been dragging down. Sorry, it was the 300 call. Yeah, because I paid a little over $1,100 for one of them, and now I'm down on them. You can see that. pretty nice little chunk of change there down on that. But that's what I'm looking for. On the position sizing, that's less than 2% of my trading portfolio on that one for BA. Have you heard of DOMN? DOM, that is the, this is the real estate thing, right? And capital, all its real estate transaction solutions company. Yeah, I know this company. This is they're kind of like making the AI of AI for title companies, right? I know this company. Yeah, I like the idea of this. Sadly, I think I was actually in this for a little bit, but I got shooken out of it, sadly. You saw that it had my fibs on here. Most likely got shooken out of this $7 below level, and it's kind of just continuously kind of crashing here. So this has kind of gone to the wayside for me on this one. So it's been continuously kind of cratering here. Sadly, has not seen too much fame there. Johnny, what's up, my friend? All cash. Let's see, Clover and Hood. Yes, let's look at the old CLOV, right? Nothing to really report there, Johnny. It's still, sadly, I think I say this every single time that someone brings it up, is this huge candle right here. This thing has really messed up the stock on like a technical basis, on the sense of like, it's just kind of thrown off the numbers. It's thrown off, it's like, its rhythm. It was having a nice little rhythm getting up to like that $11 plus range, and kind of beating around that. It failed at this level here. Of course, this time was absolutely insane, the membrane, but now it's just kind of not getting above the falling 55 EMA here. Again, those are the blue little dots there. It's the 55 EMA on the daily side. It has not been able to get above that, and it's coming into earnings. It's a little bit I'm a little bit hesitant about that, especially with earnings. Not going to see an explosive move up or down. Who knows, right? Again, we're looking at the coin flip on that side, but yeah, it has not seen significant volume. If you see a volume come in here, and it had the momentum to break above the 55, but it had no staying power. Like that just kind of resolves it as it was more or less like just heavily day traded volume, and not like an institutional buying it. Because if it was like a large hedge fund, a large endowment buying this, this volume should have kept it up, but this is just more or less just trading hands really fast. So sadly, there's not too much to report there. Hood, aka the old Robin Hood, same kind of pattern here. It's a little bit more like that crazy explosive high move, and then it has done next to nothing here. It is kind of falling into a little bit of a pattern here. It does have earnings coming out here, which again, I'm not a fan of holding speculative stocks into earnings, because again, that can be completely cray-cray. That 144 EMA is kind of forming somewhat of a pattern here, but we did see Friday kind of break past that. I don't know how to read it, honestly. With these newer IPO stocks, I think it needs to have some more time in the water, aka time in the environment, to kind of create some kind of like a trading kind of base from that. Greg's asking, CAR, does it not stop into earnings? January's near money puts. CAR, yeah, this is Avis, right? Like this thing, I think was it you, Greg, who brought it up many weeks ago? We looked at this on the weekly chart. We talked about like, hey, if it breaks above like 95 plus, this sucker can run. And of course, the sucker ran. It's been 95 all the way up to 172. The next target, if this really wants to continue here, is around 200. Again, this is kind of going in a very much a parabolic kind of trading here, honestly. Because what do I mean by that? It's made this huge breakout here, okay? And it's not really going past the 8 EMA here, which is this little like purple line here. So this line really kind of tells a tale of a story of the momentum driven behind it. So that 8 EMA really kind of dictates on where it could go. So the next pullback potentially is that 8 EMA, which is currently around 160 to 158. That's something to be keep an eye on. If it starts breaking below that, and we start seeing the 8 EMA start curling over, that could be when the fun party's gonna stop and the music turns off. But insane, right? That is, what a move. Brisk Plays asking for Apple. What do I think about Apple? I love me some Apple, honestly. Even though, it's around AAPL, right? Apple. So Apple, same kind of pattern here. I want to look at this a little bit more on a larger time frame. It really tells a really great story here. Each time it comes to like the 34 EMA on the weekly side, it has got a pretty nice bounce here. And we get somewhat of a bounce here about 2 weeks ago around that 140 to 137 range. It kind of made a pretty significant bounce here. And it's kind of holding this longer term trend line here, just ever so slightly here. Not to the tick, but it's kind of somewhat conforming to it. I'm not going to be putting too much weight into that. Again, it is Apple. They are talking about some shortages. And again, I'm not going to be breaking any news barriers here, but there's a supply shortage in chips. Even though they make their own chips, there's other people that are being bottlenecked, and it's not, it's slowing down the production of everything. At the same time, if this thing does continue going higher and test that 157 range with large volume coming into earnings, this thing could easily pop and even easily make to that 160 to the 170 range quite easily within the holiday season time frame. Greg says, I didn't see PayPal falling this far, but picked up December calls one day too early, but still time to hit 260 by December, right? Yeah, sadly, I don't know what the heck's going on there. Like, I need to look into it more on like the logistical or the like reading of the news side. I usually don't like to do that. But what's the news behind it? I'm gonna sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. On what happened here, I don't really follow the news, to be quite honestly, Greg. It is coming into some level of support here. If it is some kind of announcement from the company, they clearly did this intentionally a week or a week and a half before earnings. It's just to kind of get it out of people's mind and get it out of the news cycle potentially. But we've seen these very steep down pulls here. I don't know the reason why, but again, with price action being the king of everything, it is coming into that 50 percentile move on the Fibonacci tree here and finding a little bit of a base here around 240. Yeah, 260 is easily within the deck of cards because again, 260 December calls. If you're just doing the monthlies for December, the expected move is $28, so that is easily within the cards unless this continues to fall like a knife. I'm usually a little bit hesitant to see like this, but again, this has been a fairly long-term position for myself in the portfolio, but it is a little bit nasty here because it did alert me on, was it Friday? Again, I've been busy. It was Thursday that it alerted me. My had a trigger here to warn me if it broke lower here, and of course it did. But again, it kind of broke my rule here because it substantially went past the 55 EMA on the weekly side. So it is a little bit of scary territory there. Kumar is asking for Amazon 350 call for November. Amazon, I don't play Amazon calls straight out because it's just like playing Russian roulette, to be quite honest with you, my friend. But look at Amazon, like it has been in this box of purgatory forever. It has not been able to kind of get out of this range for some time here, especially getting below that like 3,200-ish range. That 3,000 range has been significant support, as you can see here and here, of levels of support if it does pull back. But I don't know if many people remember that last earnings was not fun. Like out of nowhere, they beat, they raised, all this kind of stuff, but they just talked about, hey, we're not going to be growing as fast. It just took the stock down like a 2 deviation move. Look at this nasty red candle. And it's just now kind of slightly getting back on it onto the next quarter here. Still, who knows what Amazon can do. The expected move just for this week, for the weekly options, is $150 plus. that is a very spicy meatball, and the options that you have are around $182 plus or minus expected move. So just be very careful with that. And again, Amazon options aren't cheap. That's something I just want to be very careful about, especially playing into earnings. Rob's asking about Sofi. Yes, Sofi, that son of a gun finally broke $20. And yeah, I didn't look at the volume in particular, like you said. I don't know what time frame you're looking at there, Rob, but I'm just happy that SoFi is getting a bid here, and it's kind of really breaking out here. It finally broke back above 17. We're looking for 19 plus. Finally hit that $21.32, just ever so slightly, and then gave it right back here. But that it's been holding that 8 EMA fairly well, going up like a rocket ship here. Again, need to readjust this trigger here to look at here, and then a pullback zone in this area here. But yeah, it's looking fairly strong. There is a lot of volume coming in here. Again, with earnings on the horizon, so just be very careful about that. What trading platform I use? So I use Thinkorswim for charting, and I use Tastyworks for execution, my friend. Thank you, Nintendo64, for letting me know that. US, yes, welcome back. Thank you, my friend. I wonder if Clover will ever move, to be honest. That's my guess there, too, honestly, Makeshift. Potential pins acquisition at $70 for PayPal, then it tanked. Oh, okay. Great. Thank you for letting me know that. Again, I don't read the news. They were looking for pins. Okay. I did see pins up a little bit. I gotcha. That would have been a nice little, interesting. Potential pins. Why would PayPal get pins, though? What do I know, right? Dude, what's up, my friend? Is it a potential buy, or is it PayPal really buying it, or is it just buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing? PayPal buying pins interest. Business, I'm not touching Motley Fuel. Said it's to be in talks and pins. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. We'll see on how that one works out. Thank you for letting me know that, guys. Can you check out Tesla, Netflix, and talk? Yeah, Tesla for sure. Tesla, my baby, has really broken above. We talked about that $900 range for some time. Closed above 900. If this momentum continues and continues to move higher here, the next level we're looking at is 1,000, or to be more precise, is 997.85 would be the next level to see if we can break above that. Again, same with a lot of these other stocks. It is holding the 8 EMA very well here. Again, 8 EMA is a momentum-driven indicator. Sorry, not an indicator. It's more like a moving average here, and it's really driving that heavily. Any kind of potential move below that, it could easily kind of rough up some feathers and kind of get some of those momentum traders out of this one quite a way. But I think there's a lot of institutional backing behind this. There hasn't been too many, even with earnings, there wasn't too much like going on with volume, which I find quite strange, to be quite honest with you. But you just never know what's going on in people's minds, especially around earnings and if they're buying or selling, because it's very, very frantic at times. So I like to kind of isolate myself away from that, though. Netflix, yeah, that Netflix, talk about being a stock that wasn't been in purgatory. Let's kind of zoom out to the weekly side. This thing has done nothing literally from like October, September of this year to was it like 2020 last summer? Like for the last 18 months, it did nothing, just traded sideways and did nothing. Finally broke above that 560, 555 range and just has taken off from here. Again, on the weekly side has been holding that 8 EMA here and just continuously driving higher here. Very much a momentum play here as of right now. Looking for a potential pullback to that 620 or even 600 to potentially be a level as of right now. But if it continues to go higher and pulling that 8 EMA higher, that's going to be something to look out for if you're in the trade. And the last one you said was Talk. Yeah, I got nothing to say on that one. Looks like a newer stock. Very much kind of a downward slant here. Nothing much to say on Talk there, my friend. How is Dogecoin doing? I don't follow too many of the coins, to be quite honest with you. Like, I get a lot of questions about cryptos and other things like that, but I don't honestly, I don't do too much of the trading in that. I just buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. So who watched snaps this week? This thing got snapped in half, right? With the miss on earnings was completely disastrous, and somewhat expected. What some people have said, but some people were like, "What the hell?" Anywho, this huge downfall. You get all those people on CNBC, the talking heads, talking about like, "Hey, it's a buying opportunity," and then you have the other person, the next 30 minutes saying it's a sell, and if people have to make up their own mind. But I think honestly, it could be a buying opportunity because I'm being a little bit more optimistic here. I wouldn't be just jumping out hand over fist, throwing in, selling the farm, or they say, or putting your whole life savings into it. But it is maybe worth a nibble once it kind of isolates here a little bit, maybe a week or two. If it starts staying around that $55 to $50 range, I think it probably potentially could get. Do I think Tesla and Netflix are overvalued? I don't look at stocks as being overvalued or undervalued. For me, it's really just coming out down to the price. It's very like a supply and demand kind of thing, of like who's buying and who's selling. Definitely people are buying this because it's running up the bid here, right? It's continue going higher. It has a wind in its sails and it's moving higher here. Something that doesn't have the winds in its sails is like the Facebook, the Snapchats, like they're beaten down. The stock as well hasn't been performing very well. It's not at all-time highs. It's not breaking out. It's actually going lower here. So I'm looking at momentum. I'm looking at price action, and I'm looking where people are putting or buying or more or less buying the stock. Because I'm not a short seller in that front, but this is what I'm looking for in those kind of trades. So like another one that I kind of have liked and looking at was Visa, but the thing's kind of been doing next to nothing. We did talk about Starbucks coming out this week. I'm a little bit hesitant about that because I actually stopped at I don't like Starbucks coffee, but I had to stop because a kid had to take a poop. They were both closed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They had to adjust their hours because they didn't have enough staff. So that was very interesting on that front. Watching CLOM this week. Columbia Sports, interesting. That's a good pick because again, this is like around that especially here on the East Coast, we have that cold front kind of coming through. We have a lot of potential things that could line up this. This is an interesting one to watch. And I did just go into a Dick's Sporting Goods store, and they were selling a lot of Columbia coats. And we'll see on how this one plays out with earnings. It doesn't seem like it does too much here on the earnings side here, on playing out here. Very interesting to say the least on Columbia. I'm doing very well, my friend. Did I miss the announcement on Facebook? Actually, no, we did not do an announcement on Facebook. We kind of did a quick one on Snap. But with the old Facebook here, coming out with Monday's earnings after the bell here, I want to kind of caution and put the hesitation flag out there. Like, hey, you're buying something that's a little bit more speculative, and there's a lot of like reevaluation going on it on the street side of things. Of like, hey, Are they going to be able to make money? Of course they're going to be able to make money. Anyone who's like in the tech world is more or less like they're going to be fine. Like I really think they're just going to be fine. I think that it's just going to take a little bit of time for the analyst or whoever else to kind of get behind of like, hey, Apple's like turning off of tracking and going in between apps is not the end of the world as people I think are making it seem. Again, I think most people do over exaggerate things and look at the worst case scenario. It's kind of like basic human nature. But if we go into like a weekly chart, this is coming in right to that 34 EMA here. So my only concern is when you start seeing the 8 on the weekly side actually cross through the 34 EMA, that's going to be something a little bit more concerning. Because if that happens, we were trading pretty aggressively lower here, and that's not really kind of following on a very healthy kind of trend at that point. Also, can I take a look at Disney? Yeah, let's take a look at Disney. Yeah, Disney, not a big fan of it. It's actually kind of been a sore thumb or sore spike in my back of my head, back of my leg, in my eyeball, and in my tongue. Just anywhere where it would not be fun to have a thorn. It's not been performing well. Like it is coming, it's at a key level right now. Like if it starts breaking below this 168, 167, and starts trending lower, that's going to be something a little bit concerning and we need to look out for and be very careful. Because again, like I just said with the Facebook, this is on the weekly chart. If that 8 EMA crosses through the 34, that's saying hasta la vista, baby, and that could be kind of messy at those 2 points. So that's going to be what we're looking at there. Is there any more stocks that people want to look at? Please put it in down with the mouse animation. Are you still short the puts there? Are you still have the puts there, Makeshift? I got a couple more minutes here, folks, and then go ahead and put in your stocks that you want me to look at. If not, jump on over to the Discord and I will answer your questions, or just ping me via just in Discord, and we'll go from there. Sorry, I was a little bit short today. I want to do another live stream tomorrow, especially tomorrow we have the Facebook, and for sure want to do a live stream on Tuesday with AMD, Microsoft, and Google, and of course on Thursday with the old Amazon, Apple, and so forth. A lot of large companies coming out. I'm going to be doing trying to do some shorter videos on just individual stocks for the week. I had a second channel set up for shorts. I need to get that reactivated here. And then we can do that. SNDL, I got nothing to say with SNDL, honestly, my friend. Kind of trying to building here. This could be worth a shot. I'm not usually buying these pennies kind of here. These stocks below like $3 or $4. Again, this stock did take it off this past year in February, especially on volume and again on speculation. But I think it's kind of in that little of a downward momentum trend. Again, I'm not too much in tuned as well with the weed market and the overall business industry and that fact. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming out. Please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and more videos will be coming soon. And I'll be posting some of the short videos on the secondary channel on more like the weekly expected move on a lot of these earnings stocks. All right, guys, take it easy. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.